And this is Game On. It is a Super Sunday today because it's time for India-Pakistan. Once again, the biggest rivalry in cricket saw an incomplete game in the group stage. But most would say that Pakistan landed the first blow in the way their bowling outclassed Indian batting. But it's a new day, and India is one country that we know that can bounce back in style. It takes one game to show the class that this team has. So with that hope, we set up the big India-Pakistan Super Force fixture for you. And we're going to be talking about that. Let's introduce our guests. We have Chetan Narula, who joins us here on the show. We're going to set up this game, India-Pakistan, with Chetan Narula, as well as Jamie Alter. And there we have it, both of them, who are going to be building up to the big game. Of course, all eyes will be on the weather because we don't know. It's 90% chances of rain in Colombo. So we all have to just pray and hope that we get a match. The good news is that it hasn't rained in Colombo for a while. So it's bright and sunny. But BCCI and the organizers, they wanted this game so desperately that they've added an extra day for this fixture. An idea that reeks not just of absolute bias, but this unilateral approach that does not bode well for the unity of ACC. For now, though, India is happy, Pakistan's happy, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka very unhappy, but can't say a word. Ironically, Monday, there is more chance of rain than today. So, having said that, let's just get straight into it, guys. First, what if it rains today and tomorrow? Matlab, what next then?
Hello, Meha. Hello, Jamie, and hello to our viewers. I explained the permutations to Jamie the other day when this was announced. Sri Lanka has already won the match. If it rains today, it rains tomorrow, or India loses the game against Pakistan, and then it rains against Bangladesh, rains against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka they've already won a game. They only need a washout in their final game against Pakistan to make the final. So the joke would be on the BCCI. The joke would be on the organizers that you gave a reserve date. You gave a reserve date to one game, and it's it's really embarrassing, to be honest, because obviously we know who's heading the ACC. We know Indian cricket is spearheading world cricket, not just Asian cricket at the moment. The bottom line here is that all other boards are also earning a lot of money. So you won't really hear a lot of noise regarding this. Yes, there have been a couple of complaints here and there, but overall, this smacks, like you said, of high-handedness, of just saying, okay, this one game is really important for us from a broadcaster perspective, advertising, etc., etc. So. Let's hope, fingers crossed, the game happens. I've just looked at the forecast. It should be okay. We should get at least, 60 to 70 overs in today, and hopefully we'll get we'll get a decided game, or we'll get a result in that particular time period.
Yeah, but this is open dadagiri, as someone would call it, yeah, Jamie. I mean, you can't do this. You've got to be graceful in the way you conduct things as a head of ACC. And somewhere this just does not look good for the ACC, for Jay Shah, for India, because, you can see it. Anyone and everyone can see what's going on here. So when Bangladesh's coach complains of it, or Sri Lanka's coaches complain of this, they're right in that complaint, that this is bias and it shouldn't happen this way. Of course, we're not going to get into the money, the financial aspect of it. But just looking at this, you can see that this is clearly advantage to India and Pakistan.
Absolutely, it's 100% advantage to India and Pakistan, and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have reason to feel ticked off, and the coach has spoken about it. You're not going to see many boards publicly say anything because we all know how beholden they are to the BCCI. And Chetan just mentioned the connection between the BCCI and the ACC is so evident, right? So are we surprised? No, we shouldn't be surprised because I don't think, frankly, yes, we've done shows dedicated to this, how it's been a shambolic lead up to the World Cup from an administrative point of view, how the ICC has basically been just kept mum kept mute because they cannot take on this BCCI. Unfortunate situation. Is it going to impact Jay Shah and his team? Absolutely not. They really could care what the three of us say. Forget us, forget the pay. I mean, the paying public, the ones who who change their lives around just to be able to watch one match. We sat there a couple nights ago trying just to monitor, Meha, how to book tickets when the 8 o'clock window opened.
Yeah.
And I'm putting Chetan in this same group because we have the privilege of at least being able to go through an ICC media accreditation window, which, let's also be fair, Chetan did mention the day it was open and the day we found out you could fit in a whole Asia Cup in that gap. But the point I'm trying to make is, Meha, the three of us are still privileged. We could watch these matches, from the media box. People who don't have that privilege, they're struggling. So my point of raising this up is, does Jay Shah really care? No, things will go on the way it happens. And like we just discussing, imagine if Sri Lanka do make the final and India don't. Very, very embarrassing.
Okay, for all of you who are joining us now, it's the second India versus Pakistan meeting of the Asia Cup, and this time there's a reserve day in place for this match, much to the disappointment of other competing nations. ACC President Jay Shah announced this week that Sunday's match would have a reserve day given the amount of rain expected in Colombo. Ironically, like I just said in the introduction, there is more chance of rain on that reserve day, which makes this, though, as well as the final on September 17th, the only fixtures of the tournament to have the reserve day. Now, while fans will hope that rain stays away from the Premadasa Stadium, and that's what we are hearing now with the pictures coming from Premadasa Stadium, is that it's bright and sunny, the teams are out warming up, so everybody is set for this big match. And hopefully we'll get a good game, hopefully we'll get a full game, because last time we didn't get to watch that. But on the pitch, this marquee clash, it sets up India's top order, boosted somewhat by 50s to Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill in the team's 10-wicket win over Nepal against arguably the best paced trio in the game today. Shaheen Afridi wrecked India with 4 wickets in the last match, and since then, his new ball partner added another 3-wicket haul against Bangladesh in Lahore. In a win which was headlined by man of the match, Haris Rauf's 4 for 19. So then, do India have it in them to counter Pakistan's quicks? Will the returning Jasprit Bumrah cause similar problems to Pakistan's batters? Does Rahul walk right back into the team at Ishan Kishan's expense? Plenty to discuss in today's pre-match show. What do you all think? Do let us know in the comment section below. What are you expecting? Are you expecting Rahul in straight away in place of Ishan Kishan? We're just a few minutes away from that toss. Is that the right thing to do? Let's ask Jamie and Chetan. We've been discussing this for a while, but I get a sense, guys, despite what you and we've discussed, I have a feeling Rahul's going to come in. Chetan?
Given how the Indian team management functions or has functioned over the last 2 to 3 months, or even the last year or so, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in. Just throw him in the deep end, get your first choice team, going against Pakistan, raise that intensity. But Ishan Kishan is the only batsman in form, and that's why you expect them to, bench him really. So, like I said, we don't agree with it. I think I speak for all three of us. We don't agree with it. Ishan Kishan should be ahead of Rahul for the near foreseeable future. But, like I said, the Indian team management has been throwing a spanner in their own work. So, yeah, Rahul could come in.
JB, what about you? Because, I would think, in one way, if you look at this idea of putting Rahul in this match, I'm fine with it because you're putting him right in a big match like India-Pakistan and let him go and see, show what he's capable of. I would be more disappointed in this team management if they keep him away from this Pakistan match and then let him come in later. And then I would think it's extremely unfair on Ishan Kishan. And it's anyway extremely unfair on Ishan Kishan because he's got every opportunity that he's converted that opportunity. I mean, 4 50s in 4 consecutive matches. What more can he do?
I'll just give you an update while Chetan was speaking. Someone at the ground just messaged me. We've got a spanner in the works. Shreyas Iyer is the one who is not playing. Rahul and Ishan Kishan both took throwdowns.
That's big news.
I'm reading.
Let's put that news up Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. I'm saying he's not saying it, but from the last 1 hour that he's been sitting at the ground, Ishan took throwdowns first, then KL Rahul. Shreyas Iyer has not. All signs are that he will sit out and both KL and Ishan will play, which is, as
Wow.
I'm saying that, I'm just looking at Cricinfo. Cricinfo is reporting essentially the same thing without saying as much that Shreyas Iyer has not faced any throwdowns yet. Something which we have said is possible. We as in Chetan and I are not in favor of it, but
Yeah.
something that we have both acknowledged is very, very possible. So, based on what I've just heard from someone sitting inside the press box at the Premadasa, Shreyas Iyer so far has not got any such throwdowns, while KL Rahul and Ishan
Wow.
Kishan did. And KL
So,
Rahul's also done 15 minutes of keeping drills, where Kishan is not. There you go.
wow. So let's put that out for everybody.
Yeah.
Chetan, I'm just going to come to you. So what the reports that we're getting now from the ground, and we're 5 minutes away from the toss. The report that we are getting is that Ishan Kishan and KL Rahul both have warmed up. Both have been there doing some drills with the gloves on. There is no Shreyas Iyer. Is there a possibility that Shreyas Iyer sits out of this game? And what does this mean for India? What are they looking to do with playing Ishan Kishan as well as KL Rahul? So it's 4 and 5. KL Rahul will play at 4 and Ishan Kishan at 5. Is that what they're looking to do? Are they, and this is something that Rohit Sharma spoke about in the press conference. He was asked this question. Someone said, is there a possibility that both of them can play? And he said, of course there is. And can I tell you, all the experts sitting outside, including former cricketers, said that is not a possibility. They're not going to let they're not going to let Shreyas Iyer sit out. But from the looks of it right now, the news that we are getting, let's put that on our ticker down, if we can just put that on, that there is every possibility that Shreyas Iyer might be sitting out of this game. Chetan, your reaction to this? This is news.
Well, I was having a chat with JB last evening, and I said, they could drop Shreyas Iyer, they could probably drop Shubman Gill. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had opened with Ishan Kishan and dropped Shubman Gill to play Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul. At least that would have made sense. That would have made sense, because for the last 6 months we've been hearing they're waiting for Shreyas Iyer, they're waiting for KL Rahul. Immediately KL Rahul comes back, they hand him the gloves, they hand him the bat. Okay, you bat at number 5. But what wrong has Shreyas Iyer done? And Shreyas Iyer might not have scored a lot of runs in that previous game against Pakistan, but he was timing the ball really well. And this is one batsman who's actually passed the number 4 test since 2011, since Yuvraj Singh in that last ODI World Cup win that India had playing at home. This is the one batsman who's passed the number 4 test in the last 12 years. And now, 6 matches before the World Cup, if this comes true, the first thought in my head is there is no way India is winning this World Cup if they keep this thing up. If they keep this experimentation, permutation, combination, there is no way you're winning this World Cup.
I don't understand. Maybe there's a possibility that he is a niggle, Jamie. Do you think that could be the reason? That it's not a fit Shreyas Iyer who's, that's why he's not probably going to be in that playing 11, because I don't see another reason. At number 4, you were waiting. You were doing everything you can. You were desperate to get Shreyas Iyer back, right? And now that he is back, you're making KL Rahul play in place of him. If he's fit, is that even a right option?
Look, again, we don't know whether this is true, but yes, all signs from 2 different sources are indicating that it is indeed Shreyas Iyer, which is the person to be sat out today, right? Yeah. My first reaction was, okay, maybe there is a niggle because he just come back. But I didn't see anything in his 9-ball 14 that suggested there's a niggle, right? Now, your question, Meha, to us, and Chetan and I are on the same page, it's coming from a logical perspective, but I think we can agree that logic is something not so easily attached or plastered to this Indian team, especially since the World Test Championship, and then that West Indies tour. There have been enough toss decisions, enough selectorial decisions, enough in-game. By in-game, I mean changes to the 11, changing to batting order, sitting out Virat Kohli from one innings, and having him pad at number 8. So there's enough to suggest that this could be nothing to do with Shreyas Iyer being injured. He could be fully fit, which is why I understand when you pose the question to us, you're exactly on the ball. You've waited so long for statistically your biggest match winner, your biggest run getter, your biggest man in terms of average strike rate, consistency. There has been no better number 4 for India in the last 2 years. In fact, across all cricket than Shreyas Iyer. So the fact that you push back the selection to see whether he and KL Rahul are fit, and now if he's not fit, if he's not carrying a niggle, this is a very, very bizarre selection. But I'll say it again, should we be entirely surprised? No.
Okay, we'll still wait for it. You know, Chetan, let's wait for it. We're going to figure out at toss what happens. But just if India wins the toss, should they look to bat first in those conditions, or should they look to bowl?
I don't think they should bat first today. I mean, especially with yes, it's sunny conditions, but there's enough moisture around. The ground's taken a lot of moisture. It's been raining for the past week, so I don't think they should bat first. We saw what happened when they batted first the last time around. And of course, it's a rain-affected game. That was a group game. India had the buffer of playing Nepal. Right now, you don't have that particular buffer. You have to think about qualifying for that particular final. And with rain around, with rain predicted, I think, and obviously the DLM possibilities, calculations. So I think they should do the right thing and they should bowl first if India does win the toss.
Okay, at the pitch report by Sanjay Manjakar and Waqar Yunus says the sun is out and there isn't a grey cloud in the sky. So that's good news. The curators also watered the pitch, so that's a sign that the weather might have changed. We've got a bit of grass covering on this pitch. The pitch might have a bit for the pacers with the new ball, and just what you didn't want for India, Chetan. Pakistan have won the toss and they have opted to field first. So, reactions, gentlemen, how dangerous is this going to be for India? Straight up, Jamie. I mean, I know they would have prepared. This is, this is a class Indian batting lineup. And yes, Shaheen Shah Afridi has been wreaking havoc, against all batters around the world. But I'm sure India is prepared. Having said that, how big a challenge would this be for India now?
Just before that, I think I'm going to reply on what I'm seeing Chetan's reaction based on. The team has come via WhatsApp. This seems a very, very late selection because initially Shreyas Iyer was carded at number 4. His name has been scratched out. He's been written as number 13 in pen.
Yes.
I'm talking. Yeah, I think you've also seen it now. This is blue ink over a printout A4 sheet. Shreyas Iyer initially carded at some point at number 4. This is not just a replica of the previous match because this is very much a team selected for this match. But with a blue ink pen, Iyer has been crossed out at number 4 and he's been written as number 13 and KL Rahul is number 4. So indeed, as I was told a few minutes ago, this is exactly what's happened. And I think this is just a very, very, again, I'm going to use the word surprising. But it should not be. But it's definitely, in my book, the wrong call. Coming back to the toss, again, if Pakistan have chosen to field, they know exactly.
Yeah, let's put that team up for everybody so that everybody knows what the team is. So the big thing that we've been talking about, Shreyas Iyer comes in. Shreyas Iyer is out. KL Rahul comes in. That's the big talking point for today's game. Ishan Kishan stays there. And as Jamie was saying, I don't know if you can put this out, but in the team sheet that we get, there is Shreyas Iyer, whose name is there very much at number 4. And then it has been scratched and made it to number 13.
If I can just...
And KL Rahul, one second, Chetan, I'm going to come to you. And KL Rahul here, I mean, I know, I wish you could zoom it in and we can show this. And then KL Rahul at 14, at 13, they've scratched it and made it to 4. Sir, is there a way we can zoom this in so that people can just see this quickly? And then we can show it to our viewers that this seems like a last minute thing, as Jamie was also saying. So, take a look at this. This is the team sheet that we get. Sir, if you could zoom it in, so people will get an idea. And Chetan, you can continue the conversation as well on the side once I just zoom this in. But what seems to be happening here is that Shreyas Iyer is out, KL Rahul is in. And take a look at this. There. Okay. Is there a way, sir, you can show it? Okay. I think we're struggling with that. But what seems to be, what we are getting from this is this, that Shreyas Iyer is out, KL Rahul is in, Ishan Kishan is in. Okay. Shreyas Iyer, now the news that we're getting, had a back spasm during warm-up today. Did he not just recuperate from a back injury? Chetan?
Yes, exactly. This is the news that I wanted to mention. I was trying to listen to what Rohit Sharma was saying at the toss, why they have made these two changes. Obviously, Bumrah coming back in, but this is major news. Like Jamie had said, that this is a last-minute call, and it obviously reflects in the way that they have, changed it with the ink. But a back spasm coming back on the heels of, an injury, surgery needed for a back injury. We have discussed it before on this show that there's a possibility that both Shreyas Iyer and Rahul have been rushed back to fitness. We've discussed this during the West Indies tour, during the West Indies ODIs, when we told the viewers that there's a possibility that the Indian team management is not really telling the world what exactly it knows about the fitness of both Shreyas Iyer and Rahul. Rahul already had a niggle even before the Asia Cup began. And now we hear back spasm. Back spasm is a very serious concern for Shreyas Iyer, who's just come back from a back injury. This has the potential to derail India's preparation for the World Cup, not to mention whatever is happening for the Asia Cup. And if I can just point out as well, Ishan Kishan is going to continue to keep wickets despite KL Rahul coming back in. So that also, answers the question, who is now the first choice keeper in this team?
Okay, so that's India's playing 11. The big news that we're getting from Colombo is that Shreyas Iyer is sitting out because of a back spasm. He complained of back spasm and he's out. Rohit Sharma at the toss said he was looking to bat first. And he said there will be a challenge up front, but the way we guys batted last time around gives us confidence. Every game is important for us, but one thing at a time to focus on. On rain delays, he said that's the nature of the sport. It gave us good time to prepare and now we look to play well. 2 changes, Bumrah is back, and 1 forced change. Shreyas Iyer just got a back spasm. So KL Rahul comes in place of him. And that's why this complicates everything. India's preparation that we've been talking about for the World Cup. What happens now? Because as Chetan was mentioning, and as we've been saying, back spasm is something that Shreyas Iyer suffered from for a while. It's not the first time, right, Jamie? It's not the first time it's happened. He was recuperating from a back injury. And to have come back after that final nod that was given from the NCA and come the big India-Pakistan match, you again wake up with that back spasm. This is not good news for India in the build-up to the World Cup. We already do not have a settled batting order. We're already trying to figure out what the team should be. And this just puts spanner in the works.
I am not for a second going to disagree with Chetan, because this is something that I have said on this platform, on other shows. I have stressed repeatedly that India could be rushing in both Iyer and KL Rahul. But I have to add something. The very person who gave me the news, when I forwarded that message, I'm going to use a somewhat crass Hindi word. His reply was Ganta. So this could just be them trying to fit in KL Rahul as well. We know sometimes we never get the true story. Let's hope that it is not a serious recurrence and this just is a very flimsy excuse to cover up, this surprising decision. But if it actually is a flare up, then of course, I mean, this is major setback. But again, like I've been saying for months now, should we be surprised that India did not have a contingency plan? That they've been waiting for Iyer and Rahul and Bumrah, let's throw in Bumrah, to walk back in peak. This is a World Cup. This is not a tri-series. This is not the Asia Cup. Frankly, the Asia Cup is not an important trophy anymore. It's all about the World Cup. So let's hope that this is not a serious back spasm recurrence and that Iyer can slot back in. And if it is serious, God help this team. They've now fallen from 4 to 6 or 7 in my World Cup lineups. I don't know. It's just very, very strange selections these days.
Also now, I think Pakistan have got the advantage of bowling first, Chetan, as much as Rohit Sharma at the toss said that he would have wanted to bat first and would want to challenge his batters. But we know that it's not going to be easy because their first change, that's if India is able to. India's openers are able to handle Shaheen and Naseem. is then their fastest bowler, Haris Rauf, who will come in. I also want to talk a little bit about how important now the middle order's contribution will be in case India are not able to get off to a good start or their openers stutter. I mean, this is going to be a huge challenge today for India.
I think the word challenge is an understatement for India, given how we've spoken about how the Indian batting lineup is absolutely undercooked. Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill have had a bit of game time under their belts, but Virat Kohli, he's had not a lot of game time. It's all vibes and talked up form at the moment. Rahul, Shreyas Iyer at least had a hit in the middle. Now he's not there. So Rahul, just coming back from injury, he's slotted in at number 4. Ishan, Kishan, he's the only one, like we have mentioned, he's the only one in form, but he's batting at number 5. So the top 4 again on shaky ground. Like I said, challenge is a bit of an understatement here. Indian batsmen really need to dig deep today to put on a challenging total on here for Pakistan, because after everything that is happening, the reserve day, having a 5-day gap, Pakistan traveling here and there, everywhere, and India just staying put from Palakkele to Colombo. 2 bad failures against Pakistan a month before the World Cup. We are now less than a month before the World Cup. I mean, 2 batting failures against the same bowling lineup, and this bowling lineup, which is now arguably the best in ODI cricket at the moment, it does not augur well for the World Cup. And I can't begin to tell you, with every passing minute, I fear for Team India in this World Cup. I absolutely fear for Team India. Yes, Rohit Sharma is not concerned about the reactions. Yes, he's not concerned about the expectations and the pressure. Those are all words. Because come the World Cup, the pressure and the expectation is just going to be so intense.
Absolutely.
And already the BCCI is feeling it. So it's absolutely no doubt the players are going to feel it. He was not part of the 2011 World Cup, so he probably does not understand this. It is going to be really intense. And so for the good of Indian cricket, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that India's much famed batting lineup, with such a historical and storied background for each of those players, they can stand up to this challenge of Pakistan's bowling lineup today.
Okay, now this is what Shubman Gill had to say when he was asked this question about how will they face Pakistan's pace attack, especially the left-arm pace of Shaheen Shah Afridi. And let's put that quote up for all our viewers. This is what Shubman Gill had to say about that. He says, whenever you play a new bowler, it makes a difference. More so because we don't play Pakistan as often as we do some other teams. He says, coming up against a quality bowling attack like Pakistan's, not having played them that often before, makes a difference. Sometimes there's no technical flaw as such. Bowlers are also there to bowl, and you might get some good deliveries. You might get some unfortunate dismissals. When you're playing well, there might be a few things going your way. You've got to trust your game, back yourself and get those quick runs. Shubman Gill, and for Rohit Sharma, it will not be easy, Jamie. I know you can say that, look, there's no technical flaw as such. And yes, Shaheen Shah Afridi has been doing this to the best batters around the world now. And he's, he in his own words, he says he's yet to hit his best form. I don't know when that best form will come. But if that comes against India in the World Cup, it will not be pretty. Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma, what will they look to do today against Pakistan's pace attack?
Well, the problems may have been amplified by the fact that the very number 4 the team was so reliant on and waiting for is not playing this match. Rahul has also got a good body of work to show for, but he is playing after 4 and 5 months. So probably whatever relief was there in the 11, knowing that Shreyas Iyer looked good, albeit in scoring 14 runs, and the body of work that he has to show, that's not there. So now their job just got a lot tougher. Like I said before in yesterday's show, I would hope that Rohit Sharma finally actually uses that term, walk the talk, to the way that we all know it is used in sporting terms. That is, he actually gets back to batting the way he wants to, 2019. The template which I outlined and which we discussed in yesterday's show, just see off the first 10 overs, whether it's 10, whether it's 12, whatever collectively Shaheen Shah Afridi and Naseem Shah bowl to you up front, whether it's 4-4, 5-5, 6-6, 7-7, just play it out. Do not look to be a hero. don't worry about the scorecard. Rohit Sharma's template has never been to worry about the scorecard. Get to 100 if you have to in 33, 35 overs, because what you have, Rohit Sharma, is a skill to add on 110, 120, 125 in the last 12 to 15 overs. It's a skill that very, very few batsmen have. I don't for the life of me think that he's going to be able to do it in these conditions. But if Rohit Sharma can get 65, 75, it's going to make a hell of a difference to this batting team. In regards to Shubman Gill, look, I'm going to cut him some slack because he's only played Pakistan once. I don't hold him as culpable as I did Virat and Rohit in that last match, just because of their records against Pakistan and the sheer volume of runs that they have in one-day cricket. I hope that Gill and Rohit bat the same way. Just do not take risks. You both have enough runs in you this year itself to show that you can go on and get hundreds. Just like I said, do not give early wickets. Easier said than done. Haris Rauf comes on at 12, 13, also makes life tough for you. But just make your middle order, give your middle order some cushion. And I believe that if it works out, because there's no dew right now, there's no gray clouds, conditions probably going to be decent. So let's just hope these two guys can do it.
Okay, for all of you who are joining us right now, India are going to be batting first. So Pakistan at the Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, India versus Pakistan game. First thing, rain is not playing spoil sport, not as of now. It's bright and sunny. At the toss, Pakistan won the toss and they opted to field first. Rohit Sharma was asked at the toss what would he have liked to do, and he said, I would have wanted to bat first. Now, the big news and the big talking point before this game at the toss was Shreyas Iyer's injury. How big a problem is that going to be for India, in the matches that are coming up now, as well as the fact that Shreyas Iyer was being seen as that number 4 option. He had been India's best option at that position in the last year or so. So what happens now? Rahul is coming in. He's being thrown in the deep end, just recovering from an injury, has done his rehab in NCA. For Ishan Kishan fans, it's good news because he doesn't have to sit out. He is still India's first choice keeper. That's another thing that India is doing. Clearly, India does not want to just get Rahul to keep wickets just yet. I think that's the other thing. That Ishan Kishan is there in the squad, in the playing 11. Let's ask him to keep wickets for now. Should we read a little bit into it? I don't know. Maybe they're just giving him more time to just get fitter and fitter. I'm going to put that to Jamie in just a bit. But for all of you who are joining us, how big will this be for India that they're batting first and they will be facing the pace attack of Pakistan, which has been the best in this format? The other big thing is also how will Jasprit Bumrah, who's coming back, after missing the last game, the birth of his child, how will he bowl today? Jamie, I think in all this build-up, we forget that there's another very crucial player who's coming back in Jasprit Bumrah. And we know that he is the most crucial to India's World Cup plans. If he is able to bowl like what he was doing before the injury, India will have, higher hopes of making it to the semis at least. So how do you see him approaching the game today in his comeback?
We'll know very, very soon because he'll be taking the new ball with Mohammad Siraj. And look, we all know that Jasprit Bumrah has been away for a while, 11 months away from international cricket, add on a couple months, 6 weeks before that from the time he played an ODI. And things not really going in favor of him because it's very tough with that action, with that load, with that strain. This is now 2 major injuries. 3, in fact, have set back Jasprit Bumrah along the way to, I think, when the dust settles on his career, it's going to be a pretty remarkable career across all 3 formats. But very, very tough to be in his shoes right now because, there's not much conditions in your favor right now. You're playing a one day after 13, 14 months. And you have very, very little match practice. 4 overs each across 2 T20Is in Ireland. It's a good return from where you've been, but it's nowhere near ideal preparation to facing the number 1 ranked team who have won the toss and chosen to bat, knowing fully well that it's their bowlers which could actually decide the outcome of this match. I think that said, you're not going to see an unprofessional, you're not going to see a lethargic Jasprit Bumrah. because that's just not him. He was definitely, to my mind, rushed back in September of last year for that T20I series against Australia, and it showed by the way he looked. His figures also showed it: 7 overs, 1 wicket, and about 12 runs per over. But that was a very, very different Jasprit Bumrah. This looks the fittest possible Jasprit Bumrah we could expect after an 11-month absence from international cricket. But I have a tough job because Pakistan batsmen are in good form, barring Fakhar Zaman. Let's hope, Meha, from an Indian perspective, that he hits his straps from the first over and he can get back to that supreme skill of wicket taking that he has in white ball cricket.
Yeah. You know, as someone who's been covering this, Jamie, you're in the same boat. It does not feel that good in the way. Okay, that is before I continue that conversation. That is the team sheet. So take a look at that team sheet where Shreyas Iyer's name has been cut out right towards the end. It seemed like he was obviously slotted in, and then he complained, or he woke up to this back spasm, and then KL Rahul had to be drafted in. So that's the team sheet that we got. But yes, just coming back to this, Jamie, for us who've been covering matches for some time now, we've been covering cricket for some time now. It's so strange when in an ACC or an ICC tournament you say Pakistan are favourites. But today seems like one of those days. As much as I don't want to say it, I feel like they are the more settled side. They are obviously one team that is under slightly less pressure, because India are looking to find that momentum. They are looking for that turnaround. The 2 matches that they played so far in the tournament haven't been, the kind of team that we'd like India to be. They've not shown those skills. Batting collapsed, then their fielding and bowling not up to the mark against Nepal. So in that sense, India clearly under pressure, and they will really need to be their best today to win this game.
Absolutely right. Let's start with Pakistan. You just said it. They're under less pressure. And it sounds strange you mentioned it sounds strange to talk about them being the more stable team in a multi-team knockout, but it sounds stranger to say that they'll be under less pressure in an India-Pakistan game, because for years, in fact, until the 2021 T20 World Cup, that opening match also on a Sunday, that they had never beaten India at any ICC World Cup. I'm not counting Champions Trophy. I'm talking about one-day World Cups and T20 World Cup. So things sort of changed, I'm not going to go as far as to say that the dynamic shifted, because India did get a win against them both at the Asia Cup last year, as well as in that first league match also on a Sunday of the T20 World Cup in Australia. But this Pakistan team, we've talked about this on shows this past week or 10 days. They're far more settled than any other Pakistan team has been. They're ranked number 1, something you don't normally see with Pakistan one-day teams. They've got the number 1 batsman as their captain, and the captain himself, that is Babar Azam, has really helped in shaping this team. He's not one prone to hyperbole or to make loud movements or any exaggerated actions on the field, and that shows what kind of leadership he brings. So that's just Pakistan heading into the Asia Cup. They smashed Nepal with that 238-run statement win. They have the upper hand against India in a washout. They go and beat Bangladesh, and now again they're here against an Indian team already with problems, and now without their first choice number 4. So it is entirely, to my mind, advantage Pakistan. And let's hope, like Chetan and the two of us were discussing, that India's every batsman department clicks, so that we get a far more competitive match.
Here's the other question then. KL Rahul, why do you think they've not kept him as the keeper? Shouldn't you want to, especially in a match like this, where you have the option, in case KL Rahul is not fit enough, to give, wicket-keeping duties to Ishan Kishan, to at least try him out for those 50 overs, Jamie?
I think, and this is just a hunch, Meha, this is the assumption with which I've been looking at this Indian team for the majority of this year. Yes, KL Rahul is seen as a keeping option, but now I don't think, and I hope I'm right in this, I think the tide has turned. He's not anymore their number 1 wicketkeeper batsman for the World Cup, because of how Shreyas Iyer had been expected to come back and score runs, and because Ishan Kishan has got 4 50s in a row. The fact, Meha, that KL Rahul's name was scratched out shortly before the toss, and he was rushed in. I'm hearing now that he was rushed in to come and do the drills, which means he was not going to actually start this match. If the back spasm flared up very late for Shreyas Iyer, he's a late addition, that is Rahul. And the fact that he's a late addition means that he was never going to be their first choice keeper. So I think we've just seen a massive shift in India's World Cup plans. This is just my reading. I don't think Rahul is now anymore India's first choice keeper. It is definitely going to be Ishan Kishan for the World Cup.
Okay, so it is the big game, India versus Pakistan. The good news at the moment is that there is no rain in sight. For now, we are going to get the match starting at the scheduled time. The bad news is that Shreyas Iyer, he is out due to a back spasm. How big is that injury? That we don't know yet. From the BCCI, that's all that information that we have got. Ishan Kishan is playing and so is Rahul, but Ishan Kishan will be keeping wickets. Pakistan have won the toss. They've opted to field first. Hopefully, we'll get a brilliant match with India winning on the other side of it. Jamie Alter, thank you so much for taking the time out. Chetan Narula, who is also here with us on this show. That's it. We're wrapping this up. How do you like our show? Do let us know in the comment section below. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Pakistan is actually genociding Baloch people. So being Baloch is a crime. If you are a Baloch, it means in the eyes of Pakistan, you don't have any right to live.
The Chinese and Pakistanis are colonizing the Baloch and exploiting their resources.